All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Small Business Big Stories podcast. I'm here with Fatima Lee Garsi, and I'm going to pass it on over to you. I'm going to say very little.
I feel...
because I want you to give everyone an idea of who you are, and I think the best person to do that is you.
I'm afraid. I'd like you to talk more.
Okay, yeah. I'll talk a little bit more. The way I know Fatima, we actually connected... over social media.
I have anxiety today. I just have to tell you that.
That's okay.
That's why I asked Brittany if it's okay if I talk about drugs today, because I took a little bit of mushrooms and now I'm feeling like, I don't know. Can you keep talking?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mushrooms are great. Right, Brittany?
They, I don't know yet. Yeah. I haven't felt them quite yet. You have given me some, and I'm a little afraid to try them. I won't lie, but the intention is to try them. So
they're excellent. I microdose a lot.
You told me that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that then. Yeah. You told me that it very much like heightens colors and like things around you. Like it just sort of heightens experiences.
Yes.
Okay.
So these lights are like, you don't have to change anything, but they're really like, they're very strong.
Yeah.
And when you're on mushrooms, it just like all the colors become very bright and you're very aware of everything.
Okay.
And so I feel like if you have depression, which so many people do have, especially over the pandemic, it actually feels like everything becomes dull, including like the colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you take a little bit of mushrooms, it like really just enhances your visuals and all your senses as well.
Yeah.
And your ability to focus.
So like, as you say that, I'm scared of that. I'm scared of the idea that like to make life more enhanced than what it already is.
You probably don't, you're probably like already up here. Right?
Inside I'm already up there. And so I like to play it cool, calm and collected.
Yeah.
But on the inside, a lot of times I just want to like bust out of my own skin. But you did mention that it would help with things like anxiety or perhaps depression. Mm-hmm. I do feel like obviously feeling up here all the time, I do experience a little bit of anxiety. So yeah, maybe that would be helpful.
Yeah, you do get a lot of flashbacks. So sometimes like you remember, like, cause it creates new neural pathways in your brain.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you also go down memory lane, which can be really inconvenient. You know? You have like a lot of...
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Inconvenient.
Like, who wants to recall some like really uncomfortable childhood memories or things that you're not really... There's nothing that triggers it. It just like happens. So it's kind of strange.
Yeah. So has it been mostly helpful for you? Microdosing?
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like for pre-workout. It's very good because it energizes me.
Oh.
Yeah. But sometimes if I'm like, if I take a little bit too much and then I'll smoke a little bit of weed to come back down and then I'm ready to teach.
Yeah.
So yeah, I use quite a bit.
Okay.
But like microdosing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel
like they've gotten a bad rap. Like I know so many people who are on like Adderall and this and that and this fucked up thing. And it's not fucked up, but like a lot of chemical, substances, and like, I would rather take mushrooms than alter like my brain chemistry that way, or like to damage my liver.
Yeah. I think the idea of talking about drugs or microdosing still comes with this stigma. And from my...
I brought some in my fanny pack. That's why... That's why I got my fanny pack, actually. I was like, how can I carry my mushrooms?
It's a good drug pack.
Yeah, so it's very convenient for me.
Yeah. I think that it still carries a bit of a stigma when people think like, oh, I microdose, or, you know, sometimes like I'll consume edibles or what have you. And I think automatically people assume, well, you need this in order, like you're dependent on it, right? And I think that, you know, consuming a substance that you feel either like calms you, or sort of levels you out, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think a lot more of us need to be leveled out, especially after the pandemic and experiencing some of the most unprecedented times. It's one of those things where it would be nice to feel a little bit of that calm.
For sure. And I was listening to something the other day about how psychedelics perhaps played a role in religious ceremonies, like in the church, how they burn that. It's actually sage. It's actually perhaps it was like a type of salvia. And salvia, you trip balls on it. So maybe before. Have
you ever taken it?
Salvia? Yeah. I don't recall. Like, I know a lot of my hippie friends were smoking it when I was a teen. But I was a big ecstasy. A lot of ecstasy.
Yeah. What's that experience like?
It's like very euphoric. And you feel very connected to everyone and everything.
Wow.
And like everything in the world is perfect. Like you just feel super connected. You want to dance. A lot of people have sex because it's like you feel really connected to people. So I hope my mother never listens to this. My parents, like, they're like in denial of like my drug use, even though it was like very apparent. Yeah. Because then I was like an addict. And then I was like addicted to opiates, which was really terrible. Yeah, like, for sure. When I was 16, I was working in a kitchen. I was washing dishes. Yeah. First of all, let me say to teenagers, you guys need to move your asses, stop sitting on your ass and expecting people to give you money. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. Go out there and get a job. So anyways, when I was 16, one of my boss was selling me these like really heavy opiates. Yeah. And so
it's quite common in the kitchen environment, like the hospitality environment. I worked in a restaurant for quite some time, and if I wanted it would have been there like in my hand.
Yeah, because it's like a sport in the kitchen. Yeah. And so like it's quite common for people to take stimulants and especially like after work is done for the chefs and the staff to get drunk and stuff like that. So yeah, I was also like selling a lot of my stuff at school, and I was a very ethical drug dealer. I would always
entrepreneur at a young age.
Since I was young. No, it's true. I would always ingest what I was giving to people first. Yeah. To make sure it was good. Where was I going with this? So the ecstasy, it feels like you're super connected. You really want to dance. Yeah. I'll tell you a strange story.
Please.
Okay. Like I remember one of the first times I took it, my friends and I used to go to this club that let in underagers. I had a fake ID. It didn't matter, but we were all like dancing, and then like one by one, like people were throwing up, but at the same time, people were dancing as they were throwing up because it was like felt so good, and you didn't care that. Yeah.
That reminds me of that Family Guy episode, the one that everyone refers to. I was not an avid Family Guy, or I'm not an avid Family Guy watcher, but I do know that episode where it's just like they took Epicac and it was just everyone was throwing up anywhere. Anyways, please continue.
Yeah. So that can kind of give you an idea of like the feelings of like euphoria. I remember another time I was DJing at this house party on New Year's.
You were a DJ?
Yeah, but like, I only did it for like a year. And I basically was like, in my room, like spinning all my jungle music and like dancing around and stuff like that. Yeah.
Is it something that you still do?
No. Okay. No, I do like write songs. I'm actually playing music tomorrow. Rancid Heart is my album. Okay. My putrefying soul. Especially over the pandemic, it was really putrefying. But now, but back to the story about the
yeah, please.
When I was DJing, I had like distributed ecstasy to everybody, and like one girl was on the floor, and I thought I had killed her, and I was really like, because she was like that, and like her face was like sideways, right?
Oh my gosh!
And then people were trying to pry her hands apart. Yeah, and we're like, are you okay? And she was like, I'm having the best time of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And then the next day we were like, the next day is terrible because like the come down is awful.
Well, I was going to ask that.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's awful. Like, it's the worst.
Because, like, to feel that high of a high, like, there must be, awful. Like, a crashing
it's
low.
Terrible. Like, I can't even describe how terrible it is, because all the serotonin is used up in your brain.
Right.
And you just feel awful. Like, I can't...
Like, you can't compare it to anything?
No, it's... Everything went from, like, beautiful to everything is so ugly and terrible.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, like, does that just last for a day, or does that last for a couple days?
Like 3 days, I would say. But then, you know, usually you smoke a lot of weed during those times, or
just sort of keep yourself afloat.
Yeah, or you use something else. Yeah. But I know I came on here to talk about my business, and now
well, no, I mean, it's a good
started the roots in my entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, we all come from different paths and different life experiences, and I think it's important to capture those things and to be genuine about those things, because everyone's startup is different, and it's nothing that anyone should be ashamed of. You learn things, whether it be good things or not so great things. Yeah. Either way, things are a learning experience. And I think for whatever reason along your path, it brought you to where you are today, which is like an incredible business owner who runs this amazing gym. And yeah, so please go ahead and elaborate on like what brought you to.
I have a seasonal cough.
That's all right. No worries.
First of all, I need to say, Brittany, you're a great instructor, and I have a talent for knowing when someone's talented.
Yeah.
Like I have a feeling, I can smell when someone has talent. So that's why I just knew. I was like, this person has talent.
Yeah.
It's a quality hoe.
Yeah.
And,
yes, that's what I'm aiming for.
It's really great to have you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sorry, what was your question exactly?
Yeah. So I guess what brought you to, like, through all of your life experience there, what brought you to think, and we'll get more into that as well. What brought you to the idea of, I want to run my own gym. I want to open up a space for women to feel strong.
Mm-hmm. Well, it goes back to it's like related to my stories of addiction.
Yeah.
Because the friends around me at that time had the privilege of going to rehab.
Yeah.
And I didn't I was totally neglected and ignored, right? So I had to pick my ass up and leave. And I became addicted to exercise in a freaky way.
Yeah.
I looked like a freak, always having to run or jumping squats and push-ups, and just I got this idea in my head. I wanted to become a fighter professionally. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was perfect, because it's a very obsessive thing. You're always exercising and developing your craft.
Absolutely.
You have to be a little self-obsessed to become a fighter. And I was alone, so it really worked out well for me.
Right. You put all your focus into it.
Yeah, 100%. I had nothing else to do, really. Yeah. So, and then I actually I think from that trip, I was very isolated. Yes, there were people around me, but I was a foreigner, so I wasn't connecting with them on a very deep level at all. Is
this when you went to Taiwan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was still fucked up, but I thought I was healthy now because I'm exercising now. So there's nothing wrong with me now.
Yeah.
Right. And then I almost died when I was in Taiwan because of my obsession. And I had my coach had signed me up to, I think it was this Asian Cup or something like that. And I had started my weight cut very early. And I was hallucinating and had nightmares every night for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I was hallucinating, I was really unwell, I was crying something was wrong with me.
Did you tell your coach?
I didn't need to, because he thought I was possessed, and I thought I could have been, because of my hallucinations were so strong. And this might sound a little out there, but there's if you're in Taiwan, there's a lot of temples, and people are always inviting spirits to their home. It's all around. And I was very weak, and it would take me 45 minutes to go to the gym on my scooter and all these winding roads. And like I would come home after like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And like, I think the environment, I think I was possessed. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Cause you were surrounded by a culture,
but that
perhaps.
Just sounds like crazy, right? So like, I wasn't able to like articulate that, because people would be like, okay, right, you were possessed. Like, it just sounds so fucking crazy. So
yeah. But I think also, like, you were in a different part of the world where values and the culture are very different. Mm-hmm. So to feel that way, I think is quite reasonable.
Yeah, because like when I looked in the mirror, like there's this, it's really fucked up. It was like someone else was like looking at me. It was awful. And so it was like, I was like, okay, I'm going to kill myself, because like,
how long did you feel this for?
A couple of weeks. And then like, I wasn't coming to the gym, and my coach was like, what is wrong? And then like, I just wasn't talking to him. And then the night where I felt like I was dying, I was like, my organs are shutting down. Like, I wasn't on anything. And like, the room was like spinning, and like, it was like everything was melting. And I was like, I'm fucked. I'm going to jump off the balcony. It was like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And in that moment, my coach had come to my apartment. He had never like visited me at that hour before. It was like, I don't know, some divine intervention. Yeah. And he was like, I need the gym key. You have a spare one. Can you come down? And I was like really paranoid at that time. Actually, like, I had like extreme body dysmorphia as well. So I was like, I had thought that I was really fat, but I wasn't, but something was going on with me. So I was like, and my coach was really like, he was the type of person, like, they don't really care about your feelings. Like, sometimes he would like pinch me here and there, wear a raincoat, and like, don't come, like, go for a run because you look really fat today or something. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. And anyways, I won't get into my history of being a really chubby girl, but, so I went downstairs, and my coach looked into my eyes, and he was like, you're possessed. He was like, there's something really wrong with you.
Yeah. And
I was like, thank God, because I was like, am I dying? He's like, no, you're not dying, but there's a ghost inside of you. So I was like really scared.
Right.
But I was almost also relieved that I wasn't dying.
Right. And that like someone else was validating how you were feeling.
I had no idea that was what it was. But yeah, I guess like, I don't know. It's kind of freaky when someone looks into your eyes and tells you that there's a ghost living inside of you.
I could only imagine. And especially since it's not something that you would hear, like living in Canada. Yeah. Like you said, if you were to tell someone that story, ordinarily they'd be like, come on now, actually, right?
I told my therapist that. And she was like, well, because you were cutting weight, because of this. I was like, no, like I don't think people that cut weight have that sensation or have like the feeling of someone being inside of you. Like, I felt like someone had stepped inside of my chest.
Were you feeling like an out of body experience? Like your body no longer belonged to you?
It's really hard to describe. It's like, it's not that. It's just, you can feel the weight of someone else inside of you. And when you look into the mirror, you can't, like, you see them through, it's really weird. Yeah. And like the nightmares, like you can't escape it. That's the frustrating part, because like, you know that you just don't know how to get rid of this thing. And if you talk to someone, they're going to tell you you're crazy. Right. Yeah. But in Taiwan, it's actually quite common because like it's because of the culture, right? Because they're calling ghosts all the time. They're always praying to ghosts. So I did tell some of my Buddhist friends, and they did like,
they validated,
try to help me, but like I left the country right after that. Yeah.
How long were you there for?
Like 2.5 years at that time.
Okay.
I went back because I felt really like, I felt upset because I had done all this training, and then I didn't get to like prove myself as a fighter. So I was like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to kick this girl's ass. I was supposed to fight this world champion. Yeah. And the day of the fight, she couldn't get her visa into the country. Okay. So like I had done all this training,
for what seemed to be now nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I just felt like I wanted to go back because like, also I didn't like finish. I think I completed high school, but I didn't go to university.
Yeah.
So like for my parents and my family, like it's like you don't have any, you're seen as like unsuccessful. Right. And I think that's pretty common. Like,
in quite a few families, I would say so. And like, depending on, at least speaking from my perspective, having that piece of paper is somewhat of, you know, a credit to your hard work and your level of intelligence, which at this point in my life, I don't necessarily agree to a certain extent. I think that it can be, no matter if it's high school or university or you taking a course that you're passionate about, it shows a level of dedication. It shows your passion for something. Your interest. That's right. In completing that. Does it have to be university? Does it have to be college? No. I tell people all the time that university, that piece of paper was literally the most expensive piece of paper I've ever purchased in my life. And that's all I could really say about university.
Ever since I was young, like I remember on the first day of school when I was in kindergarten and the bell rang and I was the only one who didn't go inside. Yeah. Because I just didn't understand what was happening. And I didn't like the group, thinking and like, I didn't like being told what to do without having a really good reason.
Got it.
And like all the school activities, like what is the purpose of me doing that? Like, where's it going to get me? Like,
right.
Like the status doesn't matter to me. The praise for my parents, that doesn't matter to me. Right.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I came back after, the possession incident and then I was super fucked up. I had a hard time just talking to people regularly. I remember I went to the store and, I had, bought some protein powder and I was just like looking at the cashier like an alien.
Yeah.
And you can laugh. It's okay.
No, I don't think, honestly, I think it's like, it's interesting. But I also think, man, that must have been so fucking hard.
It was really isolating.
Because you were like readapting, and also getting over and overcoming that experience that you had in Taiwan. So to go through all of those things at once, and how old were you at that time?
I was probably 23 when I came back. Yeah.
It's still at a state. I mean, like, even if that happened to me now, I'd be like, I'd be pretty screwed up. But at 23, and you were in the mind state that you were in, of course you'd have a hard time socializing.
And like, I thought that I had left Taiwan and like, I was better.
Yeah.
And when I came back, I had realized that everything was the same. And like, the problems in my family were the same. Yeah. And it like, I had a complete like mental breakdown inside, you know?
Yeah.
And, so I was like, I told my mom, like, I can't stay here. I'm going back. And she felt really bad. And then I got my personal training certification and,
how did the fight go? So you went back to Taiwan?
Oh, that was much later.
Oh, okay.
I kind of fast forwarded that. Okay.
Part. Yeah.
So I got my personal training certification. Really I also had like a lot of body image issues as a youngster. I probably still do. Right.
Yeah.
But, so like me wanting to be a personal trainer was also like me thinking I could fix myself at the same time. Right.
Yeah.
And just kind of like feed my addiction to getting that high when you exercise. Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to feel like that all the time. Yeah.
You were just finding another way of doing that wasn't drugs.
Yeah. And I used to fucking crush people. Like I didn't have like,
elaborate.
It was terrible when I was a beginner trainer. Like I didn't have the soft skills of like, yes, I had empathy. I'm a very like empathic person, but like, I didn't care what they wanted or like needed. I was like, you're going to do this, this, and this. And like, they would throw up and like cry and I just didn't care.
Yeah. Well, coming from your experience, preparing for this fight that you were preparing for in Taiwan and the approach that it seemed like your coach was taking, that makes sense that you would have a similar pedagogy and approach to your training because that's what you've been shown. Right?
Yeah. My coach was an interesting guy.
Yeah.
He told me that, I don't know why I'm bringing this up. It just came to my mind, but
we spill everything here on this podcast.
And I love him, but he told me when he was like, he grew up in Burma.
Okay.
And, I guess they didn't have a lot of things to do when they were growing up. So he told me when he was 16, he fucked a cow. That's just what everyone did. And I was like, he was telling me this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like kind of freaked out. I was like, that's really gross. And he was like, why? Why is that? That's just what everyone did. There was no girls around. And when boys become a certain age, like that's just what we do. You
know what? I feel like you want my reaction to be like, what the actual fuck? But my initial reaction is how cultures are so very different. Like, and I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah.
Not in this, like, not in terms of bestiality. I'm not intrigued about bestiality. It's not something that I would ever want to experiment with, but just the overall idea of how something in one country is is acceptable. And the same thing in other countries. Like, how dare you even speak of that?
Yeah.
I find that intriguing.
Yeah, it is. It is very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think it's just, he was he's a jungle guy. Like it's just a really interesting man. And he had so much influence over me.
Yeah.
I went across the world to have him.
Yeah.
So like he was able to influence me in ways that other people just couldn't. Like I was a heavy smoker also when I went to Taiwan.
Right.
I had been smoking since I was 13. And I knew it was bad for me. No matter how many people told me to quit, I wasn't fucking doing it. But like when he told me, I quit like immediately because he didn't tell me to quit. He
didn't.
No, the way he like, first of all, he accepted me like, as I was. And, you know, we would go out after training. Like, if you want to smoke here. I don't care.
Okay.
You know, so I didn't have to hide anything from him.
Right.
But then he would just obliterate me in the training. Right.
Ah. Okay. Yeah. He's like, yeah, go ahead and smoke, but I'm going to make sure that your lungs pay for it.
Yeah. And then he was like, he said to me, like, if you have the ability to quit.
Yeah.
And something about the way he said that was like, I don't know, it just worked. I was like,
yeah, it was a light bulb.
Yeah. So like the power of coaching and having like, it's really powerful. It's something that I don't want to take for granted.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that definitely translates into the way that you coach now. I mean, yeah, I definitely see those soft skills for sure, wherever they may have come from. Where do you feel like that did eventually develop from?
I'm really sensitive.
Yeah.
And it's probably from my parents. Like, they're pretty much like socialists.
Okay.
Yeah. And like, they're like probably just in my genetics, like very caring, right? Really wanting to make people feel good about themselves and that sort of thing. And also like, I know what that feels like because humiliated so many times in my life.
Yeah.
And, so like in a gym environment, I just know how vulnerable it can feel to be like moving your body in particular ways and learning a new skill as a woman.
Yes.
And how difficult it is to learn when you're not relaxed. And that was also my problem, I think, in school in general, was like I just, or certain environments, like learning was difficult for me when I didn't feel I could be myself or I didn't feel relaxed.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, it like the minute you said that, I was like, wow, I felt the same way. I felt I felt a similar way where, when I did my post-secondary education, I won't name the school, but I attended a school where I felt the exact same way. I was like, I don't feel comfortable being myself. So this learning environment is useless to me because
you're just thinking about like maintaining like a shell, right?
Yes. Yeah. I was so insecure with myself from an intellectual level and a personal level at the same time that I just felt like I had to leave. and it just wasn't the right fit. So yeah, feeling uncomfortable and not being able to be yourself is definitely something that I can relate to. But let me tell you something. When I walked in, so I just want to backtrack for a second in the way that we know each other. So through social media, we realized, well, not we, but I realized that you knew Sydney, who I had been in connection with. Sydney will also be on the podcast very soon. And she runs an all women's gym as well in Toronto. And so I knew her through some courses that we had taken. And then she had connected me to you because you were looking for new trainers. And so, but you had never, and still to this day, you've never met Sydney, right? In person. Yeah. And that's what I loved about, and I know this can be controversial to say, but loved about these last few years is connections were made that ordinarily probably wouldn't have been made. So yeah, walking into your gym, I would say either the first or second time, I literally felt like this. I went like this.
Like, I love that.
Yeah, I felt an automatic sense of relief that this was a place that I could be myself authentically. And I honestly, I feel that you've done that for so many women who attend your classes. So please share these amazing classes that you offer.
I'm so glad that you felt that way. That's definitely what we aim to do. And I think you mentioned to me, it feels like a home, like even like some of the way that it's decorated, like in the kitchen and my office, it's kind of got like
all personal touches.
Yeah. It's because like, you know, I like people to want to spend time there, and I like to spend a lot of time there. So, and I don't want it to feel like stale or like hospital vibes. Yeah. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
Like some gyms have that, and then when you like even sometimes do a consultation, it just feels really like medical or like it doesn't feel
or robotic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's what I really wanted to stay away from.
Yeah.
Your questions about the classes that we do. So it's basically an extension of the things that I really love to do, right? Boxing, the Muay Thai. We have the Street Fit, which you did. And we choked each other out, which was really fun. And then our boot camp class, which you do such a great job teaching.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's great because we have like kind of like a semi-private small group environment happening, which is great. So people can like have that connection with the coach, right?
Yes.
And also like it's the same girls coming every time, so it's a really nice little community feel.
Yeah, it's a family for sure. Even this during Ramadan and then celebrating Eid, it was so beautiful to just sort of immerse myself in that culture and get a sense of the significance of it through your members and through yourself. Yeah. And I think really being able to share who you are wholeheartedly is something so special. And when you can do that in a space that, you know, you would think, well, you're there to work out. It's much more than that.
It's much deeper.
Yeah.
And that's why, like on Instagram, it says that it's deep health because like all of my health issues didn't come from not knowing how to work out or not knowing how to eat properly. It came from like my identity and a lot of discrimination and things like that.
Yeah.
That like, well, you know, if I go to a normal gym, am I going to be able to make a connection there or relate to anybody there or really talk? Not that our gym is a place where people necessarily get together and talk about their problems, but there's the fact that there's an awareness or that you're with other women who share the same identity.
Yeah.
I think it just does something in the environment. From time to time, like we will have, you know, casual discussions about things that I think are really important. And it makes people feel more comfortable.
Absolutely. I know. And you let me know. I mean, from the very start of this, it seems like your comfort level is pretty good. But when you first, thank you. When you first opened up your gym, it wasn't.
It was very bad.
Yeah, it wasn't what you would say was like a celebratory reaction to it. You want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was pretty. You know, the good thing about that is that it inspired me to write my music.
Yeah.
Because it pissed me off so much. But basically, I had been working in the Muslim community for like 5 years prior to opening my gym.
Right.
And in like very like ultra orthodox pockets of the community as well. Like it was really kind of diverse, but pretty conservative.
Okay.
And, I don't know, basically along the way, this is really, I just want to cut this story short because it can get quite long, but basically when I had opened my gym, some ladies, they started like spreading rumors about me, first of all, like I don't go into my classes saying, hey, everybody, I'm gay. Right. In any circumstance, like not because I that's just not how my personality is. Like it doesn't matter if I'm around Muslims or anyone. That's just not what I normally, unless I'm around gay people, then we'll talk about it a lot. But I'm generally like pretty private and, but I'm also like a 50-footer. Do you know what that means? It's like you can tell from 50 feet away, like, oh, that's a homosexual. Yeah. It's like I don't really need to say anything.
Yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like when I walked in, I was just like, okay, yes, someone I can relate to on that level as well. Yeah.
But so basically like, some girls were basically not only telling other women like that I was gay, but also like a predator.
Yeah.
And at the beginning I was like, okay, this is really hurtful because I had known these people and I had helped them.
Yeah.
And I had like given them so much of my time. And I actually think people who do things like that are a little bit, if not a lot, very gay.
Yeah.
And they have like this self-hatred or this, they can't themselves express who they are.
There's a level of fear.
Yeah. And so they will go out of their way to like attack as a defense for themselves.
And projection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the beginning I was really hurt. But I was like, who cares? People are going to believe this shit. People believe that shit.
Yeah.
And like, I lost a lot. And, of people, like of connections and like, the feeling in your stomach when like these people like have blocked you or like they think that you are like a rapist or like a pedophile or whatever, it's really fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's because of the way that gay people are spoken about, like in religious communities, right? It's like in general. So, and at the same time, I was going through a lot. I had like moved like my personal, my home, right? I had moved in with my girlfriend and I had also like moved and like renovated this studio. So I was like going through a lot and then this had happened and like,
a lot of shifts.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and it was just like nonstop for like 2 years. It didn't stop until I had made a post saying like, this is dumb. And then it stopped. Isn't that crazy? Because one of them was like watching me every day. She would like follow my students and watch like it was really obsessive and like, it tried to get me arrested as well for being a gay person. And people did not give a fuck. Like that's what really bothered me.
Yeah.
Like I'd tell like other like people in the community, like these people are doing this or like this is happening to me. And they would just not give a fuck. It's like, fuck you bitches.
Yeah. I could only imagine just because, all you're trying to do is pursue, your passion and serve the community and open up a space, you know, for people to, again, feel comfortable, get strong, build body awareness. And so when people are so overtly against that and personally attacking you,
it gave me
couldn't imagine
a lot of resentment in in my religious community as well, just because nobody gave a fuck, like, except for like a couple of my close friends. But aside from that, it was like, well, like, what are we going to do? Like, that's not something we talk about, or like, that's just, you know, that's like your thing. It's not our thing. So that was like really disappointing. It unearthed a lot of my other deep traumas, like my childhood trauma, right? And that fucked me up so bad, Brittany. Like, that's why I started taking mushrooms, actually, again. Like, I was fine. I thought I was fine.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I hadn't been using anything. Not that I don't really know if I would consider, like, microdosing, like, to be, like, using, but I was fucked up. Yeah.
Well, again, and this is me just, you know, being empathetic to the fact that I've never experienced to this degree, this sort of like rejection to my sexuality, and that's never really affected any like business pursuits. And so, for me, it's hard to really wrap my head around individuals who just, like, if you don't agree with something, that's okay. I think that's okay. I don't think that we should all, I mean, that's what creates the world that we live in, right?
Can I pause you for a second?
Yeah.
I think you mean like people agreeing with like how you identify, right? Like agreeing with but like the thing with how people think about homosexuality,
yes,
it's an ideology that you can subscribe to, right? And it's not. It's just something that people are born with.
Absolutely.
And that's like, but religious people think, especially because there's like a flag, that there's like this movement, this ideology,
right,
that has been born in the West, which is stupid. It's not true. That is like a threat to like the nuclear family, which doesn't exist anyways, because there's always been concubines for centuries.
Right.
Only recently have we had like this new kind of marriage dynamic,
like monogamous dynamic.
Yeah.
I guess where I was going with that, it was just that.
Sorry, you're like, no, I don't agree on that concubines.
Anyways, no, but I guess my thought process is it's okay. Okay, disagree with something, but, you know, just leave me alone, sort of thing. Like, I don't understand how, you know, what's happening in my life or your life is, you know, affecting, or what's happening under my roof in my household is any of anybody else's concern.
Well, you know, because in particular with Muslim women, and they are, especially if you're like a little bit Orthodox or conservative, there's this like the gender segregation is very important.
Okay.
So the thought process is like, okay, I can't show my hair or be around a man because maybe there's an attraction. So if I'm around a lesbian and why would I take my scarf off? Because perhaps it's like she's predatory. It's like a natural, it's a natural like connection that people will make, because in general they feel like men are actually predatory. So when you are a gay person, you become like a man, essentially.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, why would you, Brittany? I know you're not a lesbian, but you're halfway there. But let's just say you're a big fat lesbian.
Yeah.
Why would you want to train Muslim women? Oh, it's because you want to see them without their scarves on, and who knows what you want to do with them. So that's kind of
what the image of you was.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I also think that I don't know enough about religion. I didn't grow up religious. And so I don't know enough to really comment on it. So to hear your experiences, and just to hear like the hard time that you had makes me feel like that's from an objective standpoint, that is hard in itself. And like to be a part of, you know, a religious group and then also be gay there's so many layers to that. Like just to be gay is, you know, is complex in itself and comes with its own trials and tribulations itself. And to add, you know, religion onto that can sometimes be that much more intense.
Well. Yeah, because most people have, gay people have like religious trauma because of what you're told when you're young. And like I have gay Christian friends who tell me that like it's people like always tell them they're going to burn in hell and all this sort of thing. Yeah. But I'd like to add to that, like, you know, the Muslim community is quite diverse. So
for sure.
Yes, there are very like, bigoted people and people who are like quite close-minded, but there's also people who are on the opposite end of that spectrum.
I was just going to say too.
So the cool thing about that is that there are a lot of like, I have met a lot of, that's why I'm kind of hesitant to use the word conservative, because like I would maybe like to say like hijab wearing women. I've met quite a few of them who are gay. Yeah. And who that's just how they like to dress, and you'd never know. And I think that's really interesting. So that's the cool thing about our gym is that like, by saying that we are for Muslim women and LGBTQ people, it brings in a lot of different flavors. And I think that is like, it makes the space actually like, I don't know, something about it. It makes it very, very unique, more unique than usual. And also like, yes, for me personally, it's a release. And then also for Muslims who are gay, they know that, oh, I can come here and it's going to be okay. Yeah.
I think what's also amazing as well is that you really spend a lot of time highlighting your members too. Like you have some of them, you know, have their own space and workshop, and they get to highlight their story and their skill set to the other members. And I think, I don't think I've ever seen that in any other gym space before. And I think it's really important because, you know, attending a gym and getting service and getting, you know, whether it be personal training services or group fitness, it's a very reciprocal dynamic. People don't ordinarily think that because they think, you know, they're going there to get trained. They're going there to get Fatima's program or Brittany's. Yeah. But really it's more than that. You know, we feed off of each other's energy and abilities and really push one another, whether you're a member or you're an instructor. So I really enjoy the fact that you create these workshops or you have these members of the month to really showcase that it's not just about you or us providing a service.
Yeah, we all learn from each other. The people that do the workshops are quite like, they're accredited and they have like a lot of talent. Like the next person we're doing is, you know, so a world class kettlebell lady, Cynthia.
I'm so excited.
But yeah, I think like in general, I like to give people a lot of space, like to work, like even for you or for another coach. I think we're all like, it's like an art, right? And so like let the person do their thing. Yeah. And I just love learning from other people as well.
Yeah. I think it's important to really continue the work that you're doing. I think like with all the amazing accolades that I've seen on your wall and, you know, your travels and all the things that you've accomplished, honestly.
No, I'm just laughing because like, sorry, I know this has been like, it's been a really interesting conversation. That's why I'm giggling a little bit, but please.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
You know what? It has been because you're like, you have such a unique story. Right. And so to capture that all it is going to be unique. So we did it in a very interesting, different way. Yeah. But yeah, just to see all of the amazing things that you've accomplished, all the amazing publications that you've been a part of to highlight Sister Fit, has really been remarkable. And, you know, how did that feel when you were opening up and you went through all the shit that you did, and then having these media connections start to happen? How did that even start?
I don't know. It was just like Muslims are doing something in public and exercising. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And you have to be quite mindful because a lot of the times people have tried to bait me. And like they want like this really like interesting like succulent story, like it's because they're being abused, right? It's because there's like violence at home, and now
they want to feed and continue to perpetuate the stereotype.
Exactly. Yeah. So then I just put a completely different narrative, like a really boring one that's like it's true that like, you know, anything that you can take anything from anything and make it something, right?
Yes.
So I never felt like I never really felt like that working with Muslim women. Like it was really fun until all this bullshit happened. Let me just tell you.
Yeah.
And I there's something really comforting about it for me because like with body image, I just felt like there wasn't a lot of stress on like looking a certain way as well. So that was like really helpful for me. And then like it helped me connect a little bit with my faith and my spirituality, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, my narrative was more based on strength and that sort of thing, which is not what people want to hear. But anyways, it was like really stressful actually because like I was going through so much and like I hadn't had that experience of like dealing with media and stuff like that before. But I'm really grateful for it. Because I think it shut a lot of people up, you know?
Yeah.
And it's also great to put a different narrative in the public eye. So
for sure. Yeah, media does a really good job of
I take that back. It did not shut people up. It made people fucking crazy.
Yeah. Crazy in what sense?
Oh, just like trolls, people like left, right, and center being like, what the fuck is this? Why do you need this? This is like reverse racism. This is just dumb comment after dumb comment. I was trying not to like look at that, but I don't know. Like sometimes when you're put in weird situations, your strength will come out, you know?
No, and it's just, again, admirable to see that after, you know, all of this struggle that you've come out on the other side. And of course, those things don't just go away. But you work through those things, and sharing that strength really translates again in like the way you train, the way, you know, we interact, the way that you run your business. And yeah, it's been amazing to be a part of. I know that you have, I can't remember her name. She's helping you with community development.
I have a couple girls. The younger one?
I believe so, yes.
Michaela?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's helping you with community development. Can you speak to that? Like what's your plan in regards to that?
So her job is to reach out to more LGBTQ youth.
Okay.
And I met her through a summer camp that I was teaching at for Rexdale Pride.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's really difficult sometimes, obviously, because like their parents, right? They don't, a lot of them are not out in general, right? So like having them access programs is quite difficult. But I just the resource that I had, I didn't have financial resources, but I had people around me when I was young, to help me. I want to make sure that our space provides something like that for that segment. I think it's a really delicate age, and
absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really important. When I was sort of grappling with my sexuality, I couldn't pinpoint it. I didn't know what it was. I was scared of it. Mm-hmm. I knew that it made me different, and I didn't want to be different.
Yeah.
And so, and there was nothing really at that time that I could feel like, oh, okay, like it's okay for me to, you know, be in this space because I can be myself in that way. I just didn't feel that way, or that there was that space for me in school, whether it was like elementary school or high school. And so to hear that that's something that you want to provide, I think will be an amazing relief to a lot of young people who are grappling with their sexuality. Not really sure about it, still having a lot of questions about it, and just providing a space for them to be like, okay.
I'll tell you a story.
Have I said no yet?
When I was like 13, I hated high school. And I used to go to the university, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just felt like more comfortable hanging around older people for whatever reason.
Okay.
And there was like this center that I used to go to called the Women's Center. It was spelled with a Y. It's all for hippies and lesbians, mostly a lot of lesbians.
Yeah.
And I used to go there every day, and they used to tolerate my 13-year-old ass.
Yeah.
And I went there for years. But like, that's so wonderful. For me, having like a place where I could go to where I could just be myself, and it really helped me a lot growing up.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I give them credit for that kind of tolerance, because like, who wants to?
Are you trying to say who wants to be around you?
No, like a group of like, 22, 23-year-olds having this 13, 14-year-olds, like really obnoxious kid, come every day. Yeah. Right? It's difficult. Like, and I was a raging, like, I call myself an elite homo.
Yeah.
Because like I was raging when I was a teenager. Like, I had shaved my head.
Yeah.
I like wanted everyone to know. Like, I would do presentations at school. I'd be like, I'm a homosexual and blah, blah, blah.
Hi, my name is Fatima, and I am gay. I'm the gayest.
I did a presentation. This is so embarrassing. I'm really shy. But
stop. You can share.
I did a presentation at school about like my sex life with my girlfriend. Yeah.
You just said, okay, hold on. You just said you're really shy, and then you did a presentation about that?
I'm shy now, but like back then, I didn't care. And I said, like, I was like making I guess.
Did you provide diagrams?
It was just basically like, I made an argument about why gay sex is better than, I was just really out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I was a songwriter, right?
Yeah.
So like, I was playing my gay music everywhere about me liking girls, and like, it was really something else, Brittany.
Honestly, I love it. And I love it for so many different reasons. Like, one of them being, I think it's incredible that at such a young age, you were so comfortable with expressing who you were.
I think it's just like, your brain hasn't developed yet.
Yeah.
And so that's why,
And like, good on you for that.
That's what teenagers, that's why they're like that, because you don't know any better. Not that there's anything wrong with it, right?
Yeah.
But would I do that? Like, I would never do, I would never do something like that now.
Yeah.
But,
why not?
It's just, I'm quite shy now.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not very, ladylike of me to
ladylike, that term.
And also I have internalized homophobia. I'm 100% sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I have a lot of like, I was addicted to harming myself and cutting myself, right?
Yeah.
When I was like 13 from probably that. And I had a really fucked up childhood as well. It's just, but now, like, when I hear, or like gay people like being really overt, it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because of it's my own, there's nothing wrong. It's just me. Right.
Yeah.
And, the awareness of like people's discomfort and like the stigma. And so I think I try my best not to feed into that. Mm-hmm. So like,
it's amazing that you're so aware, and you just want to kind of, you know, you don't want to perpetuate that. You don't want that to affect your life or your business, or your relationships. And yeah, I think that there's a lot to say about that. Yeah. We all have, and not to say that what you're experiencing is not unique, because it is, but I think we have to give ourselves a little bit of grace in knowing that we're not all perfect. There's a lot that goes on internally, that we all struggle with. Again, we all come from different life experiences and paths. And the fact that you are doing what you're doing and you have overcome so much says so much, because now you're providing that comfort and that environment and that level of safety and security for others that maybe you didn't once feel.
Yeah, 100%. I had a thought and then it vanished.
That's okay.
Like, how am I sure I got?
No worries. We're going to wrap things up, but thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, I wanted to say, yes. Thank you for letting me, like, I don't normally talk this candidly about like my drug use or like my gayness or these sorts of things. So yeah, it says a lot that I'm able to feel this comfortable.
Good. I'm glad.
Thank you.
And that's what I want this podcast to be about, is for people to authentically share who they are, you know, where the journey started, where it is now, and where it's going. So I think that's how I want to wrap things up, is what do you see for yourself? What do you see for Sister Fit? What's to come?
One of the reasons why I don't have the gym open on the weekends is because I have other visions, right? I want maybe to have events, and I'm also like into my songwriting.
Yeah.
So I want to pursue that. And I think I would like to develop the space more and have it really grow, have more community development, and perhaps like grow in different areas.
Yeah, a youth presence.
But also like have different gyms in different parts of Canada as well. Yeah.
That would be beautiful. I think it's one thing to have yourself stationed in a community, which I think, you've really got a great space and a great location. But to be able to spread the message that you are and create the space that you have in other areas would honestly be, again, such a relief for so many different people, and for so many different women. So that's super exciting.
Yeah. And I hope you're around with us for a very long time.
Yeah. With everything that you are wanting to do and everything that you have done, it's kind of hard not to. And, the familial feeling that I got first walking into your gym, that never goes forgotten. I always remember that. Like, wonderful. Every time I walk in, sometimes I walk in and I just like haven't had a good day, and I'll tell you like that. You're like, how are you? And I'm like, not that great, not that great today. Yeah. But once, we get the music going, and the ladies walk in, it's just all of that sort of dissipates.
Yeah. It's really
and
great.
I walk out at the end just feeling like that was worth it. Mm-hmm. That was worth me, getting through whatever, head junk I had and whatever crap I was dealing with before class, interacting with you and the members just, makes me feel accepted and makes me feel like there's always something bigger There's always something bigger that I am trying to do. And yeah, and I feel like I'm getting that done at Sister Fit. So
well, we love you.
Yeah. Thanks. Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So where can everybody find you?
On social media?
Yes.
Sister Fit TO, all one word.
Amazing.
Yeah, mostly Instagram. And our website is sisterfitto.com.
Yes, I would highly recommend if you would like to get stronger. Fatima's boxing classes, her street fit class, which really brought me back to my Krav Maga days, was really awesome. And taking the boot camp classes are great. The environment is amazing, very welcoming. It's just a big family. And when you come on many days, there's quite a spread of delicious treats. So that's always something great to look forward to. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And that's it, guys. And we'll see you for our next one.